Alright, this is test 1 review, problems 35 and 36, and it's dividing again fractions. In this case we're dividing a fraction by a whole number, and in number 32 we're going to divide a fraction and a mixed number. So in this division here for number 35, what we're going to do is take this whole number here and make it into an improper fraction. So we're going to just keep that 16/3. We're not going to do anything to that. And it's best to write everything down to keep track. You don't want to do shortcuts. So we're still keeping the division sign. We're not doing anything other than changing the mixed number, the whole number, to an improper fraction, which is simply by putting a whole number over 1. Alright. So any number over 1 gives you back the number. So 3 over 1 is 3, 4 over 1 is 4, 5 over 1 is 5, etc. So now we're looking at just a normal division problem with fractions that we've seen before, and I have other videos. 16/3 divided by 4 over 1. So our process is you keep the first fraction the same, and write this on a card to remember how to do the process if you need to, so you can memorize that. Then we're going to change the division to multiplication. So that's going to change. Multiply. And then we change the second fraction to the reciprocal, which means you turn it upside down. So 4 over 1 changes to 1/4. Okay, first fraction stays the same. The function sign changes to multiplication, so division to multiplication, and the second fraction is the one you turn over. Try to write those down to remember that. Now it's a normal multiplication problem, and we can do our cross cancelization, which you can see in a video for number 30. When we divide, we can reduce fractions. Basically, cross cancelization is reducing fractions, but instead of reducing just this numerator over this denominator in a normal fashion, we're looking at the numerator over the denominator in a diagonal. So this numerator over this denominator. So if we divide 16 by 4, divide by 4, then we will end up with 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So now we divided this top number by 4. So we have to pick one of these to divide by 4. Well, obviously 3 doesn't work. So we're going to divide 4 by 4, because you have to always divide. Whatever you divide on top, you have to divide on the bottom. And that will give us a 1. So now we have a new numerator of 4, and this is the same numerator of 1. We have this denominator of 3, and we have a new denominator over here of 1. So now that's what we're multiplying. So we take 4 times 1, and we get 4 for the numerator over 3 times 1, and we have 3. So that helps us. We have reduced. However, we need to go from an improper fraction to a mixed fraction. So we divide 3 into 4, 3 into 4. Remember, we get a remainder. So 3 into 4 is 1, and that's 3. Subtract, get 1. That's a remainder of 1. And I have this in other videos, but the 1 on top is the whole number. So that's the whole number, and I find it easier to type it in. Whole number. This number here, the remainder, is the numerator. And this number up here is is the denominator. And remember, that was just that denominator from before, so nothing has changed on the denominator. Oops, spell it right. Denominator. Okay, so when we build our new mixed fraction, we had an answer of 4/3, so now our 4/3 after we divide becomes 1 as the whole number, 1, the remainder of 1 as the numerator, because that's the little bit left over, back over that same denominator of 3. So ultimately the answer to the problem is 1 1/3. Okay. So on this problem here, 36, we've got an improper fraction, leave it alone, and a mixed fraction. So what we're going to do with mixed fractions, we have to change that to an improper fraction. Okay, so let's keep track of what we're doing. I always write things again. 25/9, we're not doing anything to that yet, but I'm just keeping track. And I'm going to not change that because we're not there yet. And now we're going to work on changing this mixed fraction. Well, what we learned before, when you do 5 times 1 plus 2. So 5 times 1 plus 2 is how we make a new fraction. Okay. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 7 becomes our new numerator. We keep it over the same denominator, over 5. You can see this more closely in a video for problems 24 and 25. Alright, so 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, gives us a new numerator. So now we have division of 25/4 divided by, well, 25/9 divided by 7/5. So we do our division as normal. The first number stays the same, 25/9. We take the division sign, change it to multiplication. So that's multiply. We take our 7/5 and turn it over to the reciprocal. That's 5/7. So now we have a multiplication problem. Can we cross cancel? In this case it's not friendly and we can't. And sometimes that happens. So we just multiply as normal. The numerators, multiply those, 25 times, so which is $1.25, so 125 is 5 times 25, and 9 times 7 is 63. Now my brain thinks, well, is this divisible by 3? 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8. No, 125 is not divisible by 3, or 9, because you get an answer of 8 when you add all those digits. So what that leads me to believe is we probably can't reduce it other than to make it a mixed fraction, because we have an improper fraction. So here's our improper fraction answer. So we need to do what we did up here, and that's divide 63 into 125 to get our mixed fraction. So we're going to divide it into 125. My guess is 63 times 2 will give us 125 or something close to that. Let's take a look at it. 63 times 2 is 126, so a little too much. So let's, where are we? We're going to go in one time. 1 times 63 is 63. That's going to give us 5 minus 3. We're going to subtract 2 and 62. It was so close. So we have 63 into 62. Well, that doesn't go. So we have a remainder of 62. And remember, from up here, our answer here, our quotient is the whole number, so we have 1. And then this 62, our remainder is the numerator of the fraction, because it's what's left, the little bits that are left. So 62, and it goes over our denominator of 63. So it's really close to 2 whole parts, just 1/63 away from the whole number of 2. But we do have this answer of 1/62 63. Okay?